Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live Test Labs. Race number 5. We're on the sand in Sequoias again this week. Now, Zwift Community Live Test Labs is all about pushing the platform in the area of racing and esports. We are all about testing out new features in the game. So today for the test labs, all of the aggressive power-up or offensive power-ups are on. That is including some of the new power-ups. That is the breakaway burrito as well as the ghost or invisibility power-up. We have taken out the experience as well as the drafting power-ups should be off. And then we do have a little bit of a tweak to the pack dynamics. Now, each week we do like to have a blind test so that people are not having a placebo type effect. But we will tell you what was going on last week. Last week we had something called a short draft, so the draft was cut in half. Part of the aim was that. Now that's not the same thing as double draft or a regular draft. That's a different thing. That's how much draft you actually receive by sitting in with the pack. But in the short draft, it cuts how close you have to be to the rider in front of you in half. The idea there seemed to be that we would get less of the peloton grouping up with that draft and gaining tons of speed because of how many people were getting that draft maybe too far back in the pack. So seemed to work really well last week. Breakaways did get away. The pack did not swell too much. This week we've done something a little bit similar. But we're going to have to wait and see what you guys and gals think after the race. We got 2:37 to go. Now, the A and the B category will be together out on course, and the C and D category will be together as well, racing against each other. We do have feeds of both of the races. As always, we do have social media integration. If you do want to interact with the broadcast, you can do so. We are seeing Gino Bartali here, letting us know that he thinks there's a lot of cool things happening out on Zwift today with the broadcast, as well as Ashley Phipps letting us know that she tried to share yesterday, needed approval, so we'll make sure to get those approvals coming on through. Thanks a lot. Appreciate the shares, of course. If you do want to interact with the social media, make sure to do so. All you got to do in order to get into the broadcast and get your comments or questions that are relevant or show us your Zwift setups, you can go ahead and tweet at ZKimmerLive, make a comment in the Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube feeds, and we are able to bring your comments on in. 1:41 to go to the start of the race here. A little bit more on what is coming up on Zwift Community Live, as well as what just was going down on Zwift Live. If you didn't catch the Zwift Classics race just on the Bologna course with the men's side of things, that did just take place over on Zwift's Zwift Live, which is their broadcasting official space. The community partner space for community races is here with Zwift Community Live. So go ahead and make sure to go check that out. It was a very exciting race. It was pretty awesome actually to see, and some new features there as well. Vegan Rabbit, good to see you there over on YouTube, as well as James Derek Vickers over there over on Facebook. Thanks a lot for you guys for tuning in. All right, let's go ahead and get right into the racing action to be starting here in about 47 seconds right now to the start of the race out here. It does look like we have, I believe, about 30, maybe 40 riders jumping into the AB category here. James Hodges from KRT we are seeing there, as well as a rebound. They're coming from race 3R. Park Life is out here. It looks like coming out of Australia. Now speaking of Australia, make sure to be watching out for the chop race. If you are going to be up super early in the USA, or if you are going to be obviously 7 p.m. AEST is when that's taken off. So if you are in the lands down under, you can jump in. Does look like Amanda Coker is in here from ShowAir 2020 Pro Cycling. So good to see her jumping in with the AB category. We'll see how things turn out for her race out here today. They've been showing up for these Zwift Community Test Labs specifically, and I did get a message after the test labs and after last week's Zwift Classics race that they had some amazing results because of their jumping into these races each week. It's been quite a training grounds for them. So again, if you're just tuning in, you're wondering what is happening here. Zwift Community Live Test Labs, this is where we tweak little things in games. A lot of times it is about the physics that we are changing things up with. Last week we did have half draft employed, and we did get some feedback on the forums. Now, if you do want to jump into the forums, make sure to head on over to Zwift.com's forums, and you can see there that we do each week post a place for feedback on the Zwift official forums. It is read, and we do take it to heart, and then we do try to see what your feedback was, what your experience was of the race, as well as take in what actually happened during the race and see how it plays out for the changes we want to make. So we're looking through here. We are seeing there's going to be Vegan Cyclist. Bro has jumped in here. Good to see Vegan Cyclist. The YouTuber, I believe, hanging out in the race here. So we'll have to watch out for him, as he is definitely a rider that could take the win out here today. Last time I seen him out on course, we were racing up, I believe it was the Help the Zwift. Or no, excuse me, we were out on a map tour, I believe, race. So good to see him jumping into the race here. And we'll have to see if he's actually streaming this live. As I do know that he does have a live stream a lot of times of his races. Does look like we do have a couple of riders already off the back here, though. As they move to the back, it looks like Vegan Cyclist actually off the back by about 2 seconds at this point. So we have to see if he can get back on terms here. Dafford Williams here toward the back from the KRT team, as well as Jay Phillips here from the Canyon ZCC team. I wonder if he's just jumping in immediately after the race, as they did win, I believe, the Classics race just a moment ago with Alex West walking away on the climb. So looking through here, I do see it is going to be the KRT team at the back here, with Jonathan Levi trying to get back involved at the front end of the race at this point. So maybe just keeping things calm, though, and a lot of KRT actually toward the back here, maybe looking for an attack through Sand and Sequoias. It is about a 4-minute climb, as they do head on over toward the Titans Grove. So they're going to take on Fuego Flats here momentarily. It's going to be a very flat race for the first half of this lap, and then they're going to be heading over to Titans Grove, and then it's about a 4-minute climb to the top of Titans Grove, with a little bit of climbing early on, though, in that section of the course. So it's a difficult, definitely a difficult climb to hang on with a lot of times, and that's where we most likely will see most of the breaks. Now, we are definitely trying to catch the C and the D category as well. So let's go ahead and see how things are going in that race. It does look it's going to be Karski along with M. Carew here from Race 3R, and then it's going to be Verledens here out of Belgium here leading things out for that race. We'll go ahead and give them some ride-ons here as we're able to do that here on this feed. It does look like we're going to have about 20 riders here in amongst them. Now, we do like to mix these categories together here with the C and the D category. It does look like we're going to have Forza as well as Arnold here a little ways back in this D category. We'll make sure to cover their race as well. Give them the race as well. Give them a ride on, and give them some encouragement for jumping out there. And one lap for these riders. One lap for these riders, so it isn't going to be suffering solo for too long for some of those that fall off right off the bat. It's also good to see the C and the D riders mixing it up together in order to maybe get category upgrades, as well as push themselves out there to the next level if they can. And that's a good reason to mix those categories. A lot of times you do see that in real life as well. That's why we were trying to employ that in the test labs, to see how the mixing up of the, those who are around the elite level to the enthusiast level, of a rider, and then the C and the D categories mixed in together as well. I think it really helps each of the categories push each other, and mixing it up a little bit more with a few more riders to hammer out on course and push the pace, though, too. So Valvona here along with Simpson. It looks like Valvona, though, off the front here, 3.7 watts per kilogram, now backing off the 2.9. We'll see if he's going to be able to hold on to this kind of a pace. It's going to be an upgrade, and if he can, but it does not look like that. It looks like it will be just a little bit of kick to try and get away. Simpson here trying to close that down, as you can see, with Karski now leading the pack out now. Maybe they're just going to let these riders go if they are a little bit over the category limits. If they continue to push on that kind of a pace, it is something they can let go, as they will not end up in the result. But Simpson here, I think, most likely just trying to get across, and then it's going to be a team time trial between these two, essentially. Riding unattached, but it will be the team of the break in the C category for them. Karski here, CLS now, leading things out with Karoo, who has been showing up each and every week. And Karoo, definitely want to give a shout out to him, as he has been one of the main riders that's been giving us a lot of feedback. And we really do appreciate the feedback you've been giving there on the forums. Keep it coming, as we are reading it. And it's been super helpful to have. So keep that feedback coming. So looking through here over in the A category, though, backing with them at the front here, we do have Jay Phillips from the Canyon ZCC team. Be watching out for him when it comes to a sprint, if he's able to hang on through the climbs. He can climb, though, that's for sure as well. This is a rider who won at the British Cycling National Championships in the scratch race. Did not win the championships overall, but was able to win the scratch race in the final sprint. So Phillips here, watch out for him being super strong rider here, and can definitely take a sprint out on course here. Again, one of the professional riders that are out on course here, Amanda Coker here from ShoAir 2020, hammering away. We do see she's also doing the Zwift Academy. Good to see. This is a rider who was held, I believe it was the fastest time for some huge distances, world records actually, I believe, for the distance around the world, I believe it was, as well as I'm going to have to double check all of the stats here, but I mean, some just crazy, amazing long distance world records set by Amanda Coker. After some serious injury, actually, jumps back out onto the bike and has been an amazing athlete riding for this ShoAir 2020 team. So 164 beats per minute currently coming from her at 313 watts, mixing it up with the, mainly I believe it is the boys out on the course here. KRT now, as you do see them in the blue and orange accent kits here now, following up the wheel here. A little bit of attack here, though, coming from David here, as there is a break, a little bit of a break of 3 seconds off the front here. Boson break followed up by Fagerlund there, coming out of Sweden. They do have a 2-second gap. I'm not too sure any of the riders were too concerned about this getting away, but now with a couple of other riders here making their way to the front of the pack, there may be a little bit of concern, and it will be David from PLCC here is looking to continue with this break, but it's Chapa along with Tupman and far up from the Vikings team now closing things right on down. Definitely strung out here at this point, and I'm wondering if that'll be because of some of the differences that we've made in the game with the pack dynamics. We'll have to wait and see how it does end up playing out, but as you do see, Melting Talent looking to grab on to a wheel 1 second back. Jonathan Levi there from the KRT team there for Zwift Hype, as well as he does run that page. Jumping back on terms with the wheel. Melting Talent now 6.5 watts per kilogram, looking to close the gaps down. KRT, I think, maybe letting a few of these gaps go, then to trying to just close them down after they have opened up. KISS Racing Team showing up in force out here today. Hodges looking to jump back on the wheel. We do see a burrito power up there. That means that there is no draft on the riders. That is no draft on the for that rider, the riders that are behind that rider at this moment. So a little bit of a burrito power up, maybe just not really going to do much for them at this point, though. If they're looking to close the gap down, maybe it was a little bit of desperation for that use here. But as we are seeing Phillips here, it's interesting to see this rider off the back here, because this is one of the stronger riders in amongst here, Canyon ZCC. But we'll see if he can jump back on 10 watts per kilogram here real quickly. And I think this is a smart move, the way that he is playing this, not to drag the rest of the pack along with him. 3 different groups here at this point, all formed, and not quite able to close the gaps down, as is about 1-2 seconds between them. Now we do have an invisibility power up here coming, it looks like, from Wilson from Park Life. They are unable to see him. I think they did see him maybe disappear momentarily as he looked to close that gap without anybody on his wheel. Absolutely loving the use of that invisibility power up. Now it did not maybe accomplish exactly what he was looking to do, but it definitely was used to maybe close down a gap without anybody jumping onto his wheel. So Jay Wilson, Park Life, coming out of Australia here, jumping back onto the wheels of this front group. Moving backwards in the main pack here, it does look like there will be a chase group here. Continue reroute here, coming out of France. Amanda Coker's in here as well in the chase group, along with Dafford Williams. Then it will be think here coming out of the Netherlands, though. A little ways back in the B category will be Malek here from RACC, and then in the A category, D-Dub here is falling off pace here just on the chase. Pete's there as well, along with Twisk. Let's go ahead and move our way forward, though, and take a look at what's happening in the main group. Out in no man's land for Zwift Riders of Germany here, it is going to be Sanger. Now, 1.7 watts per kilogram looks like he's going to be waiting up for the chase group a little ways back. Going to be a group of 5 at that point. We'll see if they can close anything down. As the main group up ahead are starting to hold hands a little bit, though, so there may be an opportunity for these riders to come on back to this group here, as we are looking at Bergen from the Vikings team in the blue and black kit here. Fagerlund sitting in at 3.2 as it does back off to 3.2 or so watts per kilogram in an A category race. 4.0 or higher is going to be a steady pace. You know, into those 5 to 6 watts per kilograms, you know they're really starting to throw down some sort of intensity. So as we do look through here, it does at this pack, they have definitely calmed on down. This does give an opportunity to those chasers to try and come back, but at this, the gap has gone out to over 15 seconds. I think it's said and done for the main pack here. With some of the changes we did make this week, we're already starting to see them play out a little bit. The same half draft that we did see last week is employed this week. There's another little bit of a change as well to see if you know, the rewards perhaps are still there for using that skill well. We do see there are off in the distance a little bit here in going through the drive in there right now, so perhaps be able to bring this back still. It might not all be said and done just yet, as we do see about 10 watts per kilogram here coming from Melting Talo, I believe, coming right on by Dafford Williams and a few others here. So this looks to be shut down here by that KRT contingent that is going to be Melton Tallow and Dafford Williams. So with a couple of riders working together here to TT back up to the wheels, they're going to be taking that turn, though, over toward Titans Grove here in just a moment. The dinosaurs are going to be chasing them up the climbs in just a moment, and maybe some motivation, or maybe just said and done getting eaten by the climbs. We'll have to wait and see. Coker here now along with 3-Button and Sanger now joining up with them. 4 riders here now in this main chase group. 13 seconds up here. Melton Tallow still trying to close things down, almost there, as it looks like they are working together. Have done so, and they're all back into the pack. So definitely seeing a little bit of a different situation. We'll have to wait and see what the feedback is going to be. Again, if you are racing today, or if you're just tuning into the race, Zwift Community Test Labs, Community Live Test Labs, all about testing new features in the game. All offensive power-ups are on, along with a couple of drafting dynamics that have been changed. Last week it was short draft or a half draft, which means that the draft is not quite as far out from the riders ahead, so you have to be a little more skilled at finding that draft, along with another little tweak that we have seen in addition to that half draft in order to really reward the skill of sitting in here. It does look like it is playing out a little differently than you usually see. Some of those breaks that did happen happened in a way that seemed a little bit different. The pack wasn't able to just be consumed very quickly by those who are trying to make a chase there. So those look like the efforts have been rewarded. Now it's going to be all about the climb that is coming up here in just a moment. As we do get a little bit of a calming here, let's go ahead and see what the chat is saying. How long to the climb? We're hearing from Binyar Adenson, thanks a lot for the question coming on through here. We're about 1K to 2K out from the climb. Appreciate the question. Very sad it can't be a part of this since it changed to Wednesday. Things work with this work thing getting in the way of Zwift. And good to see Mike Davis. And hopefully we can see you out here on another Wednesday. Make sure to keep an eye out for what the times and the days are each week. We're trying to hit the best time as possible in accordance, though, with all of the other live streams that are going on out there. We don't, as a community-focused area for live streaming and racing, we definitely do not want to interrupt any of the other awesome things that are going on out there. And there's so many great series that are actually going on out there. I mean, even now, we still are buttoned up against some of the cool stuff, obviously, with the Zwift Classics. We've got the Grand Fondo with the Dirt Team is going on out there, the Indoor Specialists. Obviously, we still have also on Tuesdays, we have the Fusion ECT. On Thursdays, we have Chop Racing. W2RL as well is doing a really good job. We'll have to see how that takes. And then perhaps we'll move to another time. Make sure to always keep an eye out on Zwift Community Live. We do look to schedule our live streams out at least 48 hours or even a week in advance. So keep an eye out on there. Make sure to turn on your notifications for the page, and you will know anytime that we are going live with the, anytime that we do go live with these races. Renee Don, good to see you in the broadcast, and I appreciate the comments there about the new test labs here as well. Looking through here, Amanda Coker set the world record for most miles in a year. Thank you so much, Dennis. I appreciate that. That was very helpful. And now, then, thank you for jogging my memory on that. She actually completely demolished it, I believe, too. So I appreciate that. Jogging of the memory, though, as I definitely did need it. But Amanda Coker here looks like hanging out amongst the boys in the B category here. We'll see if she can hang on amongst them or even take the win here. As I believe, well, it looks like we have a couple of the Bs up ahead there with Chapa as well as Verokin, but she's going to be the number one female woman out on course amongst the B and the A category, I believe, at this point. We do have a strong contingent of men up front here with Jay Lecoq. It's going to be Jonathan Levi. I believe Jonathan Levi as well. Something we do like to highlight is the streamers that are out there. I believe Vegan Cyclist is most likely streaming his race here out there right now, as well as Jonathan Levi, I believe, is streaming over on Mixer. So make sure to go check out Levi's stream over on Mixer. All you got to do, I believe, to find him is search the Zwift category, and you'll be able to find him over there as well. Lots of streamers have been popping up out of the woodwork. A lot of times, especially at this time of year, you do see a few that have made plans to have a new stream start to pop up as we are heading into the fall season here, or the Zwift season pretty soon. So make sure to be checking out Twitch as well as Mixer, Facebook, and YouTube. But Twitch and Mixer, a lot of times, a lot easier to find Zwift streams is you just search the game, and then it will bring up any of the streams that have been happening. And I've been looking and following a lot of new Zwift streamers, actually. I think I've seen at least 10 to 15 of them in the last 2 weeks. So good to see a good community of streamers starting to pop up in the world of Zwift. Hodge is here, along with one of the Vikings here, far up, looking to make a break as they did start the official KOM. You did see them go by that little banner. It's a little kind of green banner on the bottom of the, it isn't like a banner over the top. It's like a little marker as they do hit up the T-Rex section of the course here. They have started their climb proper here at this point. It's going to be Hodges with far up. 2 seconds back, it was David. Now they're trying to close this down. Melting Tallow now coming on, it looks like. But there is going to be Bergen here now. And this is a strong climber from the Vikings team in that blue and black. Going by the Velociraptors here as he looks to hunt down this KOM at 7.6 watts per kilogram here. Melting Tallow now letting that go. 6 watts per kilogram. Ken Bergen hang on to this kind of pace. Up and on the set of 500 watts from the Vikings team. Matt Brand out here from the Dirt team here, looking to try and close that down as well. Look at how this is spread out. Looking to just grab onto wheels. Now you can see perhaps the difference here in the way that the riders are riding this, as they are just trying to hang on to the wheels just in front of them. And I wonder if perhaps if the half draft is influencing the way that this is climbed a little bit, as it's only a 3% gradient. You can hang on to the wheels that are in front of you a lot of times at a gradient that is about 2 or 3%. It isn't, the reward of the draft isn't quite as much, but with it being immediately behind the riders, perhaps they're able to find a little bit of something here and hold on to that speed. But with Bergen here, just absolutely demolishing this full-on attack here coming from Bergen as he continues to walk away. 6 seconds here. Hodges now 5.9 watts per kilogram. Now perhaps they're going to, in their heads though at this point, the tactic may be thinking that this rider is not going to be able to stay away on the flat section of the Fuego Flats. It's 2 laps, remember. 2 laps, remember, out here. And we'll have to wait and see if Bergen can hang on to this kind of a pace and hold on to a TT away from the rest of the riders all the way to the finish line. But at 190 beats per minute here, this rider eventually is going to have to slow down. Able to gain 11 seconds. This is a full-on, all-in, chips on the table kind of attack because he just burned a huge amount of energy to gain this kind of a gap out here. So we'll see if he can hold on to this pace to the end. He's going to have a chase group, though, behind him containing at least 10, maybe up to 13 riders here, as we are looking at Tarbe here at the back of this pack, currently I believe sitting in about 13th place or so. But they've calmed down. A little bit of hand holding here at this point as Bergen's gained up to 13 seconds now. He's about to come over the top of this climb here in a moment. Couple of questions here coming on through, and we are seeing Nathan. I'm going to go ahead and read on through this. This is a long one coming from Tom of Kaland, as we do see Bergen making his way over the top of the KOM here. Nathan, regarding your comment about our tactics the other day, Zwift racing isn't all about winning. Using races instead of intervals is quite nice, but sometimes the race is too slow, too much zone 2. That's why we do kamikaze moves at the front to up the pace and get the TSS in. I understand 100% Tom O'Kalin, and it's actually makes the racing more interesting as well. We love the kamikaze moves around here. We're hoping if we do make it the racing good enough as far as the tactics go, though, we could see some of the hardest racing though out on Zwift as well, with some of the changes that we do see, and maybe not quite as much hand holding as some people have said in the past, but either way, I think the kamikaze moves are great. The Vegan Cyclist is not streaming at the moment. We're letting us know from the Vegan Rabbit over on YouTube. I appreciate that. James Derrick saying, Pro Tour rider from James Derrick Vickers. Well, Bergen, he's a strong rider for sure. He may be verified over on Zwift Power, if that's what we're commenting about. I appreciate it there, James, though. Always interesting to watch the Test Labs race. It's great. Thanks a lot, Zwift, Vegan Zwift team. Appreciate the comments as always. But Bergen now 5.5 watts, become 180 beats per minute here, coming from the Viking team. As we'll go ahead and check over at zwiftpower.com, as we're going to be keeping up with the live results. As Bergen here has averaged about 4.5 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race so far. So solid effort here coming from him. Bragg Bergen, definitely a rider that has been out here racing plenty. He's an A-plus rider. He averages about 4.4 to 4.3. We're seeing 4.5 watts per kilogram for most of the races he does do. As I am seeing, the last race that he did do was a 3R London Loop Hilly Reverse for 2 laps, and that was, I believe, 2 days ago. Would have been on Monday. He also, it looks like on Sunday, did a 3R Watopi Hilly Reverse for 4 laps. Took a first and a second in each of those races. Then it's all the way back to Off the Map Tour Stage 4 back on July 24th was the last race that he did, averaging about 4.5 watts per kilogram Bergen. So we'll see if he can hold on to this kind of pace all the way to the finish line. But as you can see, it was just for the KOM. And it gets shut right on down on the downhill by the group as Phillips along with Brandt sit in as they look to jump back onto the pace here. A. Barry here off the back, though, with BRT, as well as Jay Lecoq here from the KRT team. Tarbert here off the back there as well. Feglon with Williams, and it's going to be Vrokin here trying to make a chase as well. A few of these riders that have dropped off that are in the chase here at this point after the climb. Williams here now still on the climb here, as well as Vrokin here. Malek here now from RACC on the chase here. I believe this is going to be chase group number 4 out on course. Back in with Farup, though, at the front, as we are at the lead here with Levi and the rest. Contingent of about, I believe, 10 riders or so. Bergen here with that initial kick in that KOM, unable to hold on as we do look at the leaderboard here. Greg Bergen here, 346.8 over the top, but suffered from that effort. 9-second difference, but that 9 seconds not able to hold off the group. And as we do see the leaderboard on the left-hand side there, that is the Titans Grove KOM. As it stands currently. We'll have to wait and see if what kind of time Amanda pulls over the top of the climb, as I believe she's still on the climb proper here, as you can see. 10.4 miles in. Let's go ahead and check in with our B, C, and D category, as they're still out on course here. We definitely want to highlight them on the day. And as we look at 7th place currently here from Karski, along with Weber just ahead of him in the C category. Beiser here from Team Experimental, long time Zwifter. good to see him jumping into the Zwift Community Test Labs along with Myers here just ahead. It's going to be Bandini here as well as Verledens here. A little ways up, it's going to be Garnes here out of Norway. Now, perhaps a little bit over category limits here for Garnes. We'll have to wait and see for the test labs. Currently, from what I'm seeing here, 3.0 watts per kilogram coming from Bandini. Weber there at about 3.2. Garnes here coming out of Norway, I believe has been upgraded actually already, or removed from results. I believe he is a little bit over category limits, but congratulations on the upgrade there for Garnes as he is walking away from this main group. I believe Simpson there as well, maybe a little bit over the category limits, 107 up, but it's going to be I believe it's going to be Verledens here for the Belgian Zwift racing team here now, as well as Bandini. And Bandini, I think the official leader here out on course at 3.0 watts per kilogram. Julian Biger here trying to chase that down. It's only a 7-second difference actually, so this race is not over for Biger in the C category. He can close this down, but this is a one-lap race for the C's and the D's as we are looking at the 4:37 over the top. Bandini here at 5 minutes over the top. Biger here, 5:06. Now looking to rest up a little bit. Bandini here now at a 3.0 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race so far. Now, if you're unfamiliar with category racing out on Zwift, the D category is going to be 2.5 watts per kilogram or less. And we are seeing John N. a little ways back from this solo rider, Julian Biger, and he's put out about 2.3. Jeff Arnold is out there as well for the D category, and he's put about 2.4. Forza out there as well. He's put up 2.4 watts per kilogram in that D category. And they're all right around each other, actually. So we'll try and catch the finish for these riders. We are seeing not even a minute difference between them. So we have a D category race on our hands for one lap out here. And that's the cool thing about Zwift racing. We've always said that from the beginning. Community racing, we've always really tried to focus in on each one of the categories as much as we possibly could. And, it's all about highlighting everybody's effort because these riders are hammering away at their threshold, getting the best workouts they possibly can, pushing each other at the level that they are at. And that's the cool thing about having the categories out on Zwift is that anytime you log in, jump into a category that is around your functional threshold power, 2.5 or less for these D categories riders, and they're out there putting in as much or more of an effort than the A or the B categories as far as perceived effort goes. It might be a 10 out of scale of 10 for some of these riders here, just doing everything they can, while some of the other riders that are out there that are a part of the A or B category, able to sit in a little bit more. They have a few wheels or a little bit more experience at the suffering. A lot of times being used to lactate being in the legs, you get a little bit more used to it and a little more used to the suffering. So the perception of it can be a little bit lower as far as the what it feels like to each of the riders here. Bergen here, who was caught, he was over the top of that KOM first, but it looks like he was brought right back into the fold here. Brandt, though, off the back a little bit here. 1 second back for Brandt. Wilson from Park Life also falling off the back, it looks like. Chapa here looking to try and grab onto the wheel, but 10 seconds back for Chapa, as well as Tarbe, 43 seconds. So definitely a few moves being made as we head into Fuego Flats again. I'm not sure Chapa's going to be making his way back to the riders anytime soon. As we look ahead from his wheel here, there is the group up ahead with Wilson from Park Life, maybe trying to get back on terms, as we do see this rider here with a little bit of a gap between himself and the main group as well. Rider number 10 out on course. There must have been some sort of attack coming through into the lap section. Now again, the finish line here is going to be through the sprint section, so they haven't started their second lap just yet. It's going to be around, as you do see here, for the course. This banner, or this little marker here on the right-hand side of the course that he's about to go over, this sprint marker, this is the start of the sprint, but at the end of this is going to be little overpass, and that is the official section out on course for the lap or finish. So if you are wondering where it does finish, sometimes out on the Fuego Flats, people are like, where the heck is the finish of this race? Well, that's exactly where it's at here. Phillips here now looking to close things down. It looks like as there was another little surge at the front of this race here. Far up in the Vikings here, along with Bergen, very aggressive on the day as they do head on through the lap 2, starting lap 2 out on course. Now making way to the front here. Hodges here on a little bit of attack. Matt Brandt now looking and being attentive as he needs to be. As James Hodges is not one that you want to just let walk away from the rest of the pack here. And it looks like Hodges here definitely putting a concerted effort here, knowing that they've whittled things down quite a bit. And James Hodges, KRT, 1 second gap here. Matt Brandt saying, okay, no, you're not going to get away from us just yet here. Let's go ahead and see what the perspective here is from Brandt as he's trying to close things down. Almost on the wheel, but now a burrito power up here coming from Hodges. That means that no one can draft on James Hodges for this section of the course until that burrito is gone. Brandt here still trying to grab on 188 beats per minute. Bergen here off the back by 4.1 watts per kilogram, 4.3. The group here trying to bring this back together, but now we've got 2 off the front. KRT's not going to be doing any work here because they got 1 rider off the front. It's going to be up to the Vikings to chase this down as we look at Bergen, 4.8 watts per kilogram. They're going to have to put out more than 5.0, I believe, as Hodges is going to look to try and have some continuation here. Brandt here jumps right onto it. Now, David with an invisibility power-up. Good to see one of these power-ups being used. They don't know that he's gone at this point. 10 watts per kilogram. That was very sneaky, actually. And he gets a little bit of a gap here. Bergen not realizing, the rest of the group not realizing. Now they do. Here comes far up here toward the front here as the invisibility power-up has gained him a gap immediately. He's almost back on terms here. Now with 3 off the front here, we're starting to see some response from the main group, but this front group here, they've got the wattage, it seems like. Hodges 5.5 out the front, but they're going to need to find some extra energy with only 3, and I think each of them have really burned some matches to be involved here. Bergen now at the front there with 5.4 watts per kilogram in the main group. Tupman here now as well, 5.4. But with 5 seconds, this is dangerous, and not too many riders in the main group that either have the energy or the motivation to make the chase. KRT just sitting in at the back, allowing their teammate to go off the front. Jonathan Levi here now from KRT and Zwift Hype. We see at the back as well. It looks like Melting Tallow is the other one. So 2 riders there from KRT, 4 riders in there from, or 2 riders from the Vikings team. They're going to be the only ones with the motivation. And then 2 riders riding for their own team. Tupman unattached there. And obviously Phillips, they're riding for the Canyon ZCC team here. I was going to give Phillips perhaps the nod as probably a favorite to win here, but in this kind of situation with a 4 versus 1 almost with the other teams out there, it's going to be very difficult for him on the day. Hodges here again, seeing the threat here coming as Phillips starts to ramp things up behind here. Maybe not wanting to drag the whole pack along with him, but might just be too too many riders in amongst those 4 or 5 riders behind that can just match anything. And it might just be a situation where you just have to drive the pace and bring the rest of those riders back up to the wheels. Back in with the C category as we are heading to the line for them. We are seeing it is going to be Verleidens here as well as Simpson and Garnay is here up ahead. But as the official situation, it is Bandini here coming out of Italy that's making his way to the line. And this is for the race win. It's going to be between Bijzer and Bandini here. So Netherlands versus Italy here out on course. Julian Bijzer looking to try and take this win out here as he leads things out, though. It is going to also be the rider here out of Belgium. So, 3 riders here coming to the line as they're about to round this corner here. All holding hands, watching each other here at this point. Let's really quickly, we're going to go back on over to the A races. We are seeing some more attacks here coming on through. As soon as they were caught, Jonathan Levi here comes over the top as they are going through the Oasis here out on Fuego Flats. And this is a huge attack here coming from Jonathan Levi. And this was definitely set up by the KISS racing team. This is extremely tactical. They had 1 rider off the front there with James Hodges. James Hodges put in a huge amount of work. Then they forced the Vikings team with Bergen and Farup to make that chase along with James Phillips there. And then Levi, the moment they get caught, counterattacks, and KRT is off the front again here with the 4-second gap here. Ken Levi TT, though, all the way to the end. He's going to need at least 20 to 30 seconds by the time they hit the climb on Titans Grove to make this happen. Now, back in with the C categories. They're heading to the line here in just a moment, looking through where is the start of that sprint section. And here's the start for the sprint. It's coming immediately from Verledens here, coming from the Belgian Zwift racing team now. On that Tron bike, blue wheels lighting up into 460 watts. Bandini coming out of Italy here, trying to follow up the wheel here. It's going to be Bijzer looking for a wheel as well. This is going from way out. This is at least a minute still to the line, at least 500 meters plus to get there. But Verledens here now on the attack, 5.3 watts per minute. How long can he hold on to this? Bandini here looking to close it down. Bijzer looks like it might be all said and done for Julian here at this point. And Bandini, I believe, the rider that is going to be able to take the win, though, as I believe there is an upgrade for Verledens here out on the, at least according to Zwift Power, or he's not registered with Zwift Power, one of the two here. But as I am seeing Verledens here with a gap of about 1 second, Bandini able to close it right on down. Bijzer here still 3.1 watts per kilogram, but this is just essentially a race of attrition to the line. Weber 4 seconds back. Bandini looks to be able to take this one outright here. 3.3 watts per kilogram. No, excuse me, 2.9 watts per kilogram, I believe, on average. So well within category limits, and Bandini might be able to win this outright, even against the Belgian rider Verledens here. As he's kicking into 330 watts with an aero power up. Now Verledens still in the 4.7 watts per kilogram. 160 beats per minute here coming from Bandini. Now a feather power up here coming from the C category rider off the front. This is a race of attrition to the line. They're just trying to hold on to whatever they can. It's not a sprint situation necessarily. It's just a head down and hammer. And it looks like it will be Verledens here. Bandini just fades and says enough is enough. It looks like it's going to be Verledens. We'll give him a ride on for his efforts here as he crosses the line. Bandini here now 2.2 watts per kilogram. Lets it go. Knew it was not enough landscape to get across the line next. Then for third place, it looks like it's going to be Bijzer here coming across the line. Huge effort from the Team Experimental rider. And then just behind him, it will be Weber. So solid efforts here all around from the C category. And that's going to be your first through fourth place for them on the day. Weber doing the cool little turnaround that they've added. I don't know if that was added to the game or not. I mean, that's what's been happening lately whenever people cross finish lines. Probably a little bit of a bug, but it's kind of a cool bug. Now, something we missed here a little earlier, Melton-Talo, we thought he was out of the race. We thought that it was said and done for Melton-Talo on lap 1 through some of these sections. He got back involved. He was able to grab back onto the draft there. And we saw Hodges set up for the KRT team. Levi and Melton-Talo sat at the back of that chase group of 4, allowed the Vikings and James Phillips from Canyon ZCC to make that gap get closed down. The moment that we saw them hit the moment that they saw them close the gap to the riders up front, to the Hodges group, they immediately counterattacked, and Levi, along with Melton-Talo, able to get away with now 18 seconds, though. Now, this is a serious threat here. Now, the only question is, can they put out the kind of effort that they need to hold off the climbers out on course? James Phillips, along with Matt Brandt and Bergen, far up, these guys are all some serious climbers. I'm not sure that Melton-Talo and Levi are the kind of climbers that they need to be to hold off those kinds of wattages, those watts per kilogram on a climb. We'll have to wait and see how that's going to play out here, because at 389 watts, Melton-Talo 450 watts here right now, and that's only a 5.5 watts per kilogram for this rider. I think a little bit more of a ruler. Melton-Talo can hang on with some of the best when it comes to some of the rollers, but when it comes to just straight up climbing, a lot of times Melton-Talo does fall off a little bit when it comes to the cream of the crop in that situation. But maybe setting up Levi here for a solid climb. I know Jonathan Levi does have some climbing legs. Very strong rider when it comes down to climbing. So 4.8 watts per kilogram here currently coming from him. So we're watching out to see if they can hold on to this gap. But it's going to be Phillips on the front here. 6 watts per kilogram. Now really seeing that he needs to put some earnest into those legs and start to close this down. But Levi on the front there, 24 seconds out at this point. And James Phillips now saying, come on, boys. What is going on, Vikings? Show us what you got. What's going on, Strongmen in the North? You need to make this happen. Matt Brandt here just sitting at this point saying this might all be said and done as KRT is off the front. 25 seconds have been opened up. At the front end of this race here for the A category, if you're wondering what it's been taking to hang on for the duration of the race, it's interesting to see, actually. We've seen some big kicks that have been happening. But a lot of times in the high-end elite racing, you're seeing over 5 watts per kilogram in order to hang in on the front end of these groups. But actually, for this race out here today, the highest watts per kilogram on average is about 4.5 watts per kilogram so far on average, actually. So I think the other thing that we are seeing out here is maybe the reality of what we have to work with in racing and the gamification of Zwift. This is something that we've been talking about a lot. Mountain Tyler unable to hang on here to the pace here as Levi just starts to walk away here. We'll get back into the ideas of gamification as Levi from KRT, 12 seconds over his teammate here. It was all about Jonathan Levi now getting away from this main pack as they start into the climb here, 2% gradient. He'll be taking the turn here over to Titans Grove, and it's going to be about a 5 to 6 minute climb to the top. Not for the KOM proper, but from essentially the start of Titans Grove, where there are a little bit of undulations at the beginning of the course here. So, but Melton Tyler here drops back. Job is done. Got the gap here for Levi. Now it's going to be up to KRT to hold on to this and TT all the way to the finish line here. So back up about the gamification. A lot of people think gamification, and in their minds they're thinking, gamification is going to be all about more graphics. It's going to be about new power-ups and features, but there is also the reality of what are the skills you have to work with in game. What is the abilities that you have to work with, right? So if you're thinking about abilities in a game, in different games you have different abilities. Mario had a jump; he could jump up and down. He could get a mushroom, and they gave him a different ability to jump onto a little mushroom guy and squish him, right? So you have different abilities. Overwatch, you got different abilities. You got healing abilities. You got tank abilities. You got offensive abilities to attack. So the abilities in Zwift that we already do have, obviously there's power-ups, but there's natural abilities to the body of the riders, and that is your energy reserves. You have an ability in-game to push the avatars forward, and what we've been thinking about a lot is the energy reserves that we have. How do we really bring that out through the gamification, through how the physics work in the game? And that's about what the test labs are about, is bringing out those abilities to really accentuate, to really allow the riders to use their energy as best as they possibly can with the game in ways that make it more of a skill base about when you're going to use it, how you're going to use it, with the time that you are allotted out there in the game. So it's energy plus landscape, or energy plus time are the two abilities you have to use. How much time do you have? How much tactics can you use in order to try and get away with the ability of energy that you have? And so with the ways that we are changing the physics, with the way we're changing how the racing happens out here, we are doing our best with the test labs to really allow different situations and different dynamics in the way that the races race against each other to give them the best abilities that they can to use their natural abilities, the energy and the time that they have to race out on Zwift. So make sure to keep on jumping the test labs. Show us how the changes are affecting the gamification in those ways. Obviously, we are also looking for other gamifications and visibility power-ups. There's been other chatter about other game modes, that we may be able to have in the future. But when it comes down to it, the use of the power that you have is also a way to make this happen. So looking through here, a couple more of the comments coming on through. I know I need a ghost power up to sneak out of work and ride the bike. Good to see Renee DeDon here still hanging out, letting us know what he's liking about the ghost power up. Okay, our team is nominated for most aggressive team prize 2019. I'd have to agree with you, Tom of Kalen. How's it go there, Gary? Good to have you on the broadcast over at YouTube as well. We are hearing from Tom of Kalen saying, we want gamification as steering and real-time biometric rider position read, and we want it zoomed. Tom O'Kayla, appreciate the comment there as well. And it'd be pretty cool to have real-time biometric rider position read. That'd be pretty awesome, actually. A couple other things that would be awesome as far as gamification goes. Perhaps we talked about we have the an idea that's been thrown around is that we have the zones, right? Zones are already in the game, and if we were able to see the zones on the riders, so you can see what they're up to at different times. Right now we just have the watts per kilogram on the right-hand side, but we don't know what kind of effort's actually being put out by each of the riders. And since it already knows our FTPs, we would have an idea then of what kind of abilities they're using in the game. But most cyclists want to be realistic. Iniesta, so I appreciate this comment, and I would encourage maybe a different way to think about it, because not all games are races, but all races are games, right? A little bit of philosophy logic there for you. Not all games are races, but every race is a game. It is all tactical. It is a game is about winning tactically, right? Game theory is employed in all races, no matter what race it is, if it's a cycling race or any other kind of race. Every single race is a game. Not all games are races, but every race is a game. So without knowing it, a lot of times I think this idea of jumping into a virtual world for some reason removes this realism in some sort of way. And yes, there are virtual avatars, and there are this idea of I think there's also an over emphasis on the wattage that we see in the upper left-hand corner, and there is not as we do see Jonathan Levi hammering out some serious wattage in the upper left-hand corner, 352 watts. He's looking to hold on to this. David here from PLCC looking to make this chase, as we do see Melting Tallow just trying to hang on with James Phillips. James Phillips come to the line here. Watch out him for this sprint, but he's going to have to get dragged up by the Vikings at KRT. But to get, to talk a little bit about, this is something maybe we need to have on with a guest, a couple of guests on a weekly windup we need to get at here. When it comes to the idea of gamification, that there's a huge emphasis on it being AKA real, more real, if it's just about hammering out watts. But we also see a lot of people in, trying to compare it to real life racing about just, well, we don't have steering, and you can't be hammering into a corner, and you don't have tactics of working with the wind. In the virtual world, there might just be different ways of how you game or you tactically race. The abilities and the skills that you use in the game of racing your bike and looking to win, are just different outside than they might be in Zwift racing, and that might be in this virtual world. And there might be new ways to add to this cycling genre to make it a fun game in which you use tactics in just a different way than you would outside. That is in relation to your watts, because there is a relationship to the watts, the pure watts you put out in a mountain bike race, but it also has to do with my handling skills and how I descend, and when I want to try and make a move, and whether or not it was a smart time to make a move. And same with a road race. Did you make the move at the right time? Will the pack catch you on the downhill easily because it's a downhill? And so on and so on and so forth. You keep on going into each one of the genres, and each way that genre is different in cycling. That's not just pure wattage. And I think because we see the watts on screen, and we see the watts per kilogram on screen, we overemphasize whether or not it is AKA real, whether or not it's supposedly more real because it's just about watts. When what is more real? What is that actually to gamification? What is that to bike racing? And I think more real, we might have to define that better by creating a new genre of cycling, essentially. I know that was long-winded, but we hear that argument a lot, and I just want to speak to that point, as I'm not sure there's a full understanding of how much gamification already exists with real-life racing. There's plenty of gamification already in real-life racing. We're just used to it, and we understand it a certain way right now, whereas in the virtual world, all we understand, it seems like right now, is this raw wattage situation, which I don't think there actually is all that is there and that all that needs to bear. And we have a great opportunity to create a new genre of cycling with gamification. Looking through here, Darren, appreciate the comments. Nesta, appreciate the comment and appreciate you bringing that to light, though, as it's a great talking point, something that we definitely should have some guests on, I think, for some talk show type situations, to talk a little bit more in depth about creating new sport genres, because that's essentially what we're up to here as we do watch the burrito power being thrown down here by Far Up. Tupman here now 4.2, and then David from PLCC. Levi's going to have his work coming out for him. 14 seconds is all it is at this point. He's got a chase group here with Brandt and Phillips here getting a free ride. Well, maybe not completely a free ride here, as it looks very difficult to hang on as the chase is in earnest here. Melting Tyler just sitting in, trying to allow his teammate to go away here. Hodges, I believe, dropped off quite a while ago, if I'm looking through here. No, Hodges is still in there. Excuse me. Hodges, along with Melting Tyler, looking to stick the wheels here still, as they're getting the free ride, it looks like, from the Vikings, as they're looking to close down to Jonathan Levi. Levi here with 6.3 watts per kilogram still, as there are a couple little undulations as they're going to leave Titans Grove. 6 seconds is all it is at this point, and what a valiant effort here from Jonathan Levi. It does not look like it's going to be happening here for the KRT rider, as Brandt now looks to go across. The dirt team here now at the front. And these sections of the course, if you put in a big dig into each one of these little climbs, 6-7% gradient here, and you carry your speed over the top of them, you can really put some damage into any kind of a breakaway, especially with a pack like this, carrying that speed on through if anybody's able to hold on to wheels here. Hodges here now toward the back with Brandt. Now it's going to be Tupman here riding unattached here. The solo rider, I think, without a team out on course here. PLCC with Jay David, though, one of the others here. So it is KRT Vikings situation up against these other three riders here out on course. Now Phillips here toward the front looking to sit in, and James Phillips, man, watch out for him in the sprint. He was able to make it over. He just followed wheels. You know, if we look through the Zwiftpower.com results right now, I would not be surprised if Phillips was on the lower end of the wattages put out. And yes, amongst this group, he is the lowest watts per kilogram on average. James Phillips, Canyon ZCC, you know exactly what he's thinking. And I'm seeing 1,328 watts. We're seeing for a personal best when it comes to his sprint max wattage out here. So watch out for this rider here. 17 watts per kilogram for him. This rider can kick to the line, and he's been waiting for his moment to pounce, I believe, here. But I wouldn't count out Brake Bergen here. Brake Bergen here at 12.04 at 15.4. We're also seeing Jonathan Levi at 17.9. But, you know, not a pure wattage sprinter. He's a little bit lighter out there at 78, I believe. Or no, excuse me, not 78 kilograms. We're seeing him at 63.5 kilograms. Phillips there with a little more pure wattage there, coming in at 83, the heaviest rider amongst this pack, just able to hang on and waiting for that sprint situation. Tupman unable to hang on to the main group here at 3.9 watts per kilogram coming from him. Brandt here just sitting in. Melting Tyler, job is done. He got KRT into the main pack, but he's only got two riders left here. Hodges, not a pure sprinter, one that would definitely want to walk away on the climb. He's put in some huge efforts out here so far, but we'll see if it's going to pay off as the Vikings, along with these other riders here solo for their teams, have been able to shut down each and every one of the attacks from the KRT team so far. Bergen here now in the front, 4.0 watts per kilogram coming from him. David from PLCC, Far Up, Bergen, Levi, Phillips, Brandt from Dirt, looking to come to the line. Little bit of gap opened up here, though, for Phillips now. Brandt trying to sit in here. Now another kick here from Phillips. Looking maybe. Now this is something in real life racing that really bugs you, but it's definitely a tactic that you can employ. You allow a little bit of gap to go, and then you kick to get away at some of those orange numbers and grab back on the wheels here, forcing somebody that you think may be in spot of bother to close things right on down. And Brandt forced to close that right on down. Probably a little bit of frustration, but it definitely worked as Brandt had to close things down. It was up into that 180, 190 beats per minute. So perhaps Phillips watching the heart rates here, maybe getting a little bit of de-essing as well, saying maybe put in a little bit of a dig on a few of these riders here. Now David here, maybe not wanting a sprint situation here, looking to get away as he makes his way to the front end of the race here. 25 miles in, 53.4 40 here, totally 28 miles per hour cruising along as David from PLCC here now leads out the pack. Gets a little bit of a gap over Hodges here. Hodges now needing to close things down, up at 8.3 watts per kilogram. Levi off the back here, looking to maybe put Phillips here into the hurt locker. I have a feeling perhaps this is what is happening here, as they know this rider is going to be one of the strongest sprinters out on course. They need to really put him on the back foot if they do not want to have a 1,300 watt sprint to the line here. And Levi here now following wheels. Brandt here at the back here. 1 second back here. We'll see if Brandt can hang on, as just sat down 465 watts. Looking to conserve as much as he can and sit in at the same time, I think. You know, a lot of times it's about not overestimating what's needed to get back on terms, but I think it's been a 1-2 punch from Matt Brandt out here. It was a huge effort for him. Great racing from Brandt out here today, but too much, just too many attacks, it looks like, and they've really pulled the ropey dope on him here, as 7th place is what's going to be best for him on the day. He's going to have to hold off Tutman still, though, 20 seconds back, and Tutman here looks motivated to still bring back 7th place here. So Brandt's going to have to put his head down and grit his teeth to hold on to 7th place, as Tutman's coming out at 4.0 watts per kilogram. Bergen here now from the Vikings. It's KRT versus the Vikings team, as well as Canyon ZCC with a solo rider, and then it's going to be David from PLCC here coming out of Australia here, leading things out now as we're coming to the line here in this A category race. Zwift Community Live Test Labs race number 5. Who's going to take down the win? One of the strongest sprinters we've ever seen. First place in the scratch race at the British Cycling National Championships is here in the race right now. Haven't seen him lose a sprint in quite a while, and he's put out the least amount of wattage on average, watts per kilogram on average, actually, up to this point. And now, a ghost power up! This is a perfectly timed, and did they notice that he's disappeared from the rest of the riders? He's got a 1 second gap at this point. He kicks into 8 watts per kilogram. I thought he was going to try and hold off to the kick to the line, but now Hodges kicks in 11 watts per kilogram. He goes from way out. It's a 4 second gap, and it looks like James Phillips has caught everybody off guard, but there's still plenty of landscape to go. He's got a couple of turns still here to go. We aren't even to the section yet that's the official sprint to the line. Here it is at this point, so it's going to be about 30 seconds to the line at this point, but James Hodges has 10 watts per kilogram. 2 seconds is the gap. He's shut it down here, but no, Hodges unable to push any more. It's only 2.5 watts per kilogram. He can't close the gap. He's put everything down he can. Now the Vikings starting to go. Phillips, he's going to have to continue on. What does he have left in the tank? I think he's put the other riders in the back foot, but Levi, he got the drag up to the line at this point. It looks like Hodges did the work for KRT, and KRT coming on through. Jonathan Levi, after all of that off the front, gets back into the pack and is able to get rewarded for all that effort here. It's going to be David from PLCC across the line, followed up by Farah, but what an effort here by Jonathan Levi. We saw him on the attack. We weren't sure it was going to happen. He gets away for a little while and then gets caught on the downhill. We saw the attack from Phillips. Phillips going from way, way early, though, and then gets caught because Hodges drags the rest of the pack up to that final 200 meters. And now Brandt here looking to hold on to 7th place, able to do so, followed up by Tupman, I believe, for 8th. Out on course. Tarbit here long, it looks like, from BRRT now. Looking through to see if we got any other riders here, but it looks like we're going to start losing riders out on course momentarily here. We'll see if we can jump back in with a few of them, but I believe for the A category, I believe it's going to try and hold us here for some reason. So apologies on that, guys. We'll see if I can find the rest of the riders here momentarily, but not going to be happening, it looks like here. So it looks like that's going to have to be for our coverage. Well, we might have, I'm going to look through here and see, we might have one other feed here we might be able to bring in. Melton Tallow, here we go. We do have the feed here from Melton Tallow. I'll be able to bring in here as he is coming to the line. Melton Tallow along with Barry here from the BRT team, and it's going to be Tarbe as well. It's currently sitting in 10th and 11th place. Jay Lecoq here now coming to the line with Chapa. Looking back, this looked like Amanda Coker here as well, still sitting strong Solid efforts here coming from her. She's holding on to the Queen of the Mountain jersey here out on Titans Grove here still. But we are seeing the KRT team making their way to the line still with all of the work that they've done. Job done for the day, though, as Melton Talo able to get Levi across the line in first place. We are also seeing solid efforts there from the Chapa and a few of the others there. KRT for Jay Lecoq, they're here as well, putting an effort in there for their team. So Dafford Williams early on with the attacks on lap number 1 as well. So KRT definitely putting in the work on the day and got their rider across the line in first place. Looking through for some of the more of the social media comments as we wait for the rest of the B category to come on through. Trix, good to see you. Brant did classic race on Bologna too. I didn't know that. Thank you so much for the wow. What an effort then coming from Matt Brandt. I actually was wondering about that. I saw on Zwift Insider that he was a part of the classics roster, now that I remember seeing that. So what an effort there from Matt Brandt. Huge race coming from him. Let's go to a couple more of these talking points. As this is, this race not just about the racing results. This is mainly about the test labs, testing new features in game. Pure power is boring, Darren is saying. It's never going to be a realistic simulation anyway, so don't worry too much about it. People who want realism have reality. Appreciate the comments there, Darren, very much there. CS Tricks now with that was pretty amazing ghost power up there. Love that there. Jonathan Levi with the win. Hanging out in the broadcast. Good to see him. Deborah Slows-Parker saying, nice work, guy. Good to see you there, Deborah. I love the fade-in flip effect screen to screen. Thanks, Lahib. I appreciate that. But as these guys are making their way to the line to finish out the A and the B category, let's take a quick look at the replays as they did come to the line. In the C category, just a little while ago, we did see a solid sprint to the line between, I believe it was going to be between the, just double check the results here real quickly as they were, sorry about that, guys. We're going to bring this replay here as quickly as we possibly can. But it was, as we did see the Belgian rider coming to the line, Verledens here. Now, I'm not sure he's going to be officially across the line in first place, but we did see Bendini here now across the line in, I believe, the official first. We'll have to double check the results as they do come through over on zwippower.com. And then it was followed up nicely there by Bijger for third place, and that is going to be your top 3. Weber there then come across in fourth place in the C and D in the C category. In the D category, Jeff Arnold there, shout out to him. We do not have a replay of that, but Jeff Arnold, thanks for jumping into the D category, as well as John N. and Kenneth Forza coming out of Norway. That's your top 3 in that D category. So if you guys did jump into the C's and the D's and you're watching the broadcast, make sure to head on over to Zwift's forums. The link is in the broadcast, and you can over on Facebook, and make sure to leave your feedback over on the Zwift forums. It is very helpful. We're watching all of the feedback and making sure to take it to heart about what you guys think of the test labs, as well as what is happening with everything that we are doing in the test labs. So make sure to let us know what you're thinking and how things are going with the racing here. So 48 seconds back here, we are seeing Amanda Coker here now making her way to the line, and it's just a couple of turns here, battling out with Malik here, as well as Sanger. Sanger now is putting a kick in here for Zwift Riders Germany. We'll give him a ride on as he kicks into 9.9 watts per kilogram. Solid effort here coming from him, but it's going to be the man out of the Netherlands at 4.6 ahead. But no, Sanger now with rebound here now from race 3R, 2 seconds back. Can he hang on? It's going to be Sanger. It looks like to the line, though, as he just nips it, as it's going to be Coker. They're just behind Rebot, and Coker to the line, though, across in first place for the women. T. Malik here, RACC, across the line next. Little ways back, it's going to be Pete. Now looking to finish up for the B race here in 23rd place. Solid efforts all around in this B category, though. So Amanda Coker comes across in first place for the women. Renee Down, we'll be looking for Christy Tarbett out there in the B's. See if we can find her. in that B category here. I'm looking through some of the results right now, and it looks like, yeah, it was Christy Tarbert across the line. First place, it looks like. Followed up, it looks like, by Get to the Choppa and then Nicholas Fagerlund there. And then it's going to be Jacob Verroken there. Michael Sanger, we did just see come across the line. I believe that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth place there. Then it's going to be Anthony Ribbett, and then Sander DeJink. Amanda Coker there, followed up by Tanjil MRAC, riding for RACC. So that's your results here out here for that B category. That's your top 10, I believe. And solid results all around for them. Jonathan Levi does take the win, followed up by Jarrell David there, and then Jetel far up there for the Vikings. Bragg Bergen there in fourth place, followed up by James Phillips in fifth. We do not have the results graphics up this week, guys, as Zwift Classics took a little bit of priority for some of the results tabs. I'll see if maybe if I reload it, perhaps they've been updated. Oh, and they have been. Somebody's pretty awesome, just so you guys know. All right, so there are the results. I did not know that they actually did get updated. So good to see and that they did get updated. Jonathan Levi across in first place, followed by Jarrell David. As you can see, Jadel Farah, Bragg Barron, James Phillips, James Hodges in sixth. What an effort out there by James Hodges. Matt Brandt, shout out to him for indoor specialists, also racing in the Zwift Classics right before this. Tupman, followed up by Brandy Meltatalo, and then it was Aaron Berry for the BRT. In the B category, then, we do have Christy Tabert there, followed up by Get to the Choppa. It's going to be Nicholas Fagerlund, Jacob Verrucken out there next, and then it is going to be Michael Sanger that we just saw in that sprint. Anthony Ribbett for 3R, Sander DeJink, and then Amanda Coker. Number one female, I believe, out on course as well, and then Tanjil comes across in 10th place. For the C category, we do have Johan Verledens actually across the line in first place, followed up by Federico Bendini, and then it's going to be Julian Beiser, James Weber, Michael Krarsky, and then Phil Van Vona. Martin Carew, nice job out there, and Steve S out there as well. We'll see if we have any D category results, and it does look like we do have 3 riders, Jeff Arnold, John N., and Knit Forsa. Congratulations to you guys in your race as well. That's going to be it for me for Zwift Community Test Labs. Again, you guys, race number 5 is in the books. I think we are really getting somewhere when it comes to the test labs and what we're trying to accomplish here. Some of the test lab stuff is being used in some of the bigger races already, actually. So you guys' work is really being taken to heart, and we're getting a lot done here. I think we're starting to see somehow the variables that we're changing each week are impacting the Petri dish. Make sure to head on over to the forums. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what you thought changed. And next week I've got we're gonna add one more variable in next week. So I'll let you guys know what changed. In the next few days, maybe during the chop race, if you tune in for that broadcast, we'll let you guys know. And then when we do schedule next week's race, we will put it in there. Here's what we did, and then give you a couple of hints about what we're going to do for next week. The last 2 weeks we kind of cleared the board a little bit with just like one variable change as we got into a new course, and then as we were on a new course, we start adding 1 or 2 new variables, right? So a new X, a new Y, a new Z here. So next week we're looking to have X, Y, Z in there. A lot of variables changed up, and see how things are impacted. Thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, congratulations to all the racers out there. If you haven't done so, obviously, you want to catch the broadcast, make sure to hit that follow button everywhere that we are live. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, as well as Mixer, whatever is your favorite streaming platform. Make sure to turn on the notification button, and we will see you tomorrow morning, 4 a.m., Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and that is going to be for Lamb Chop Racing. Live events as well for that. I'll be commentating that solo. We got guest appearance, though, from Matthew Keenan. Going to be talking about chop racing and his history with that as well. So make sure to tune in for that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and as always, ride on.